another video in the same clothes. I just have so many words right now that I need to share. So this video is going to be like a little discussion video on Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, which I recently read. I wasn't sure if I should do a review on it or if I should do a discussion, but I think a discussion is better because I wanna tell you what I think, and I wanna tell you about everything in this book, and there are spoilers. There are like so many spoilers, so don't watch this video if you haven't read this book already. Please, you don't want to know what happens until you experience it yourself. I promise you. You don't want to know. You really don't. Now that we got that out of the way, another disclaimer. I did not script this, so it might be a bit rambly, but I have so many thoughts on this book that I need to share. So first of all, if you've watched my wrap-up video, you know that I love this book to death. I think it was incredibly well written, it was incredibly well thought out, and it just played with your mind in a way that's just out of this world. I love this kind of books. It reminded me in the style it was written, it kind of reminded me like vaguely of Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson, which is another one of my favorite books of all time. It is literally so good. It's the same kind of idea behind it, where you are told things and then the author leads you on to believe that you have figured it all out, and then it turns out that you're completely in the dark and that the author wanted you to think exactly those things. Where you thought you were smarter than her or him, you were smarter than them, you figured it out by yourself, but all the while you were actually being fed those little hints and clues that you were supposed to catch because they were actually misleading. And I just love that. I have gotten to a point in my reading life, I want to say, where it is incredibly easy for me to predict storylines, especially in young adult novels. There's just no, I mean, this is not a young adult novel, but especially in those, you just start noticing certain patterns and certain markers, and you reach a point where you've just seen everything before, where every story that can be told you have read, or at least most of them. And it's really hard at this point to surprise me. It's rare that I get books, even with adult novels, where I get books where I'm really blown away, that just really have that unique feel to them, that make me think about it even after I put it down, and make me, I don't know, just play it over in my head and turn it around and look at it from different angles and think how I would act in the situation, and just I get so many emotions associated with these kinds of books. But what is lacking in those novels is that new angle, that new perspective, that new twist to it, you know? I mean, there's really nothing new under the sun. Every story has been told before. It's incredibly hard for authors to come up with a new idea because every idea has been had before. It's the execution, the way you do it, that's different. I mean, we've read stories with psychopathic wives before, where people frame other people for their murder. We've seen the TV shows, we've seen the movies, we've read the books, we know it, we know all about it. It's not a new topic, it's not a new substance. But the way that Gillian Flynn just took it and turned it into something different, like she put her own spin on it and she made it into something so unique and wonderful, and that's what I appreciate about it, and that's what's just mind-blowing to me, because she came up with that. She was like, let's play with the reader, let's make them think things, let's make them believe lies. Sorry, I got a bit sidetracked there. Now let's talk about the book itself, and it's 3 parts: boy loses girl, boy meets girl, and boy gets girl back, or vice versa. Part 1. Now part 1 is basically what I like to call the lie. Part 1 is where Gillian just really sets you up for your ultimate failure. It's where we get to know Nick and Amy as the people that they present themselves to be. So Amy, we get to read about Diary Amy, and we see Nick's side. And for me personally, I really like the insight into married life that I got through that. So whenever there is a conflict in a book, I tend to like side with one of the 2 people that are in this conflict. It's just a reaction, like who am I most sympathetic towards, who do I like best. And in this book it was really hard, because at first you all, like, Amy and Nick alternate telling you their story, and whenever I read Nick I was like, oh, Amy is being such a bitch, and then whenever I read Amy, I was like, oh my god, how can she stand him? He's being such a douchebag. And they're both making mistakes and they both kind of have their point. At least that's what you think. And then they dropped the bombshell. Nick cheated. And for me personally, cheating is like the ultimate sin. I think in a relationship I could forgive a lot of things, but cheating is one of those where just like, leave now. Because it's such a pointless, and I can't even fathom the concept of cheating, to be honest. I'm lucky enough to never have had to deal with it personally, but I still feel very strongly towards it, and I always feel like, you know, if you're gonna cheat on me, just send me a text first, like it's over or something like that. I don't even care, just let me know first. So the concept itself kind of eludes me a little bit, and when I found out that Nick was cheating, I was absolutely like, no, I'm done with you. You're poor Amy. Like, I'm not the type who automatically sides with the girl. I do tend to give both of them an equal fighting chance, but in this case, I'm like, no, you're done. You're done. You're in my black book, like forever, engraved in like blood or something, I don't know. And then there's this one line that Nick says, oh, like that we read in Nick's part of the story, and it's, I'm a fan of the lie of omission. And that made me feel so suspicious. I was like, I know, oh my god, he killed her, and all this time we didn't know, even though he keeps talking about it, because he does leave so much out, and he keeps saying how he's lied to the cops like a billion times, and then that line hits you, and I'm like, oh my god, I know exactly what happened, I figured it out, I know he killed her. And he just never told us. He just mentioned to kind of avoid the topic, like the concrete topic of it. He never says, like, to us, I didn't kill her. It just says to other people, I didn't kill her. And so we're kind of left confused, or at least I was left really confused. And I was like, okay, I'm actually not confused. I knew it was him. I was so sure. And then the author just lets you hate Nick for like a little while. I just admire her so much for her timing, because it's perfect. She doesn't like let you switch sides like this. She lets you stay on that one side for like just enough time, just the perfect amount of time until you're comfortable there and you think, okay, I put my trust in this person, I placed my trust in you, and I know that you're the good guy in this scenario. And then she takes it away, and then she's like, no, the other person is the good guy. Like, no. And that's exactly what happened with the Nick and then the real Amy scenario. Because first you're like, you hate Nick so much. And then suddenly, like, Amy's like, oh, I've played him all along. I've known all about this, and I'm the master puppeteer behind all of this. And I've orchestrated this whole scenario where I frame him for my murder so he can die, and then I'll kill myself. And I'm like, what? No, everything I believed in, it's just not true, it's a lie. So then in part 2, at least I, for my part, went on hating Amy. I didn't completely forgive Nick, obviously, for what he did. I just, I was like, this person is a psychopath. Oh my god, it never even occurred to me that one of them might just be lying. It occurred to me, as I said, that Nick might be leaving out stuff, but that Amy might be lying. It was just like, nuclear bomb going off in my head. Literally. Not literally. Sorry, I just had to turn on the light because it was getting kind of dark outside. I've been filming for so long, the light is like leaving me already. I'm going over to the dark side. They have cookies. On an unrelated note to the cookies, let's talk about part 2 of the book. So in part 2, basically, part 2 is where Amy reveals that she is lying, and part 2, I think part 2 mainly for me focuses on falling back in love with Nick, or for rooting for Nick again. I think that's what he says. I think it's the second last page, or the last page of that part, where he says, I've become the hero that people root for. And that is so true for the book as well, not just for his life, but for the book. We as the reader have finally not forgiven him for cheating, but like we've seen it in a different light. We've put it in perspective, and we've been like, okay, yes, he cheated, he made a mistake, he was an idiot, he was an asshole, but his wife is a psychopathic murderer, and I don't know, it's not much of a decision. And you kind of can't help but root for Nick now, because you want him to get, like, to beat Amy, and to you want him to, I don't know what I want him to do even, because I was like, towards the end of the book, I was thinking, okay, so how do I actually want this to end? What would be my ideal way for this to end? And there's obviously, the options are obviously like happy ending. That would have not fit this book at all if they'd gone back together like normal, like if they'd actually fallen back in love with each other. That would have just been crazy. That would have been so unrealistic, and it would have ruined the book for me, basically. If everybody dies, like, what's the point of the book? It's kind of sad. Like, nah, you can't really do that. It's, I don't know. If Amy goes to prison, it's also too much of a happy ending. It's more like, I thought that was the most, it was an acceptable, it would have been an acceptable option for me, but I knew it wasn't ideal. And I couldn't think of an ideal way to end it, and then the whole pregnancy bomb happened, and the whole thing of her like tricking him into a relationship with her, and just the whole structure of their relationship, the kind of relationship they have with each other, it's just, it's so like psychologically fascinating, because they are both sort of addicted to each other. Like, they both say, we couldn't live without each other. Nick even says, I don't know what I would do without her, because he has loved her for so long, and they know that each other so well that they're like, their lives are inextricably combined and like entwined so hard that you can't, like, if you tear one apart, the other breaks as well. And there's like really no way out of the situation. It already felt hopeless before Amy made herself pregnant with his baby. But at that point, you know that there's still like that shred. You still like hold on to that shred of hope that Nick might see the light at the end of the tunnel, that he might, like, something might happen, especially when they get together and they like make plans, and they have so many people that believe in them, so many compared to, yeah, before. And you're just like, please, please find a way, please find a way, please find a way. And then it just ends on such a hopeless note, where you're just like, this man is never going to be happy again. Or is he? I don't know. Is he going to be happy with that life? He says he has to put up with it, but is he going to be happy? Is his son going to be happy? Are they ever going to have a normal life again? Aren't all of the people involved traumatized for the rest of their days? Isn't Nick just a prisoner in his own marriage until his wife dies? Because they're so in the eye of the public. If something happened to either of them, they would, like, the other person would go immediately to prison. I'm pretty sure they have been in so much in the spotlight. They haven't even got the option of killing each other anymore, because they're so in the public, like they're so well known at this point. And I mean, obviously killing someone is never a viable option, but in the story world it often is, especially in one where people are clearly not above murder. And it's just such a hopeless situation where there's literally no way out. No matter what you do, you can't legally win this. He can't legally win custody of his child. He can't run away, because this is the 21st century and everybody is trackable and everything is, you can find everyone, especially if you have a child and a mother is searching for it. Like, the entire country would go berserk. There's no way out of that situation, and that is the perfect ending to the book. It might drive me crazy, but it is the way that I wanted it to end without knowing it. This is the exact ending that I wanted. This is exactly it, because it describes the entire book so well. It doesn't sum it up, but it like rounds it off so well. And it just leaves you feeling really, really hopeless, and it leaves you feeling really distraught, but also I felt happy because, not for the characters, but because the book made me feel fulfilled. It made me feel satisfied with the story. It came to a conclusion that wasn't quite a conclusion, because there's still so much happening. And that's something that is left out in books a lot, because the life story of those people doesn't just stop because the book stops. It keeps going on. This is not the end of anything. This is just the beginning. I think I could literally talk about this book forever, for ages, literally. But I think I have to stop here because this is getting ridiculously long. And I'm not even sure if anybody's still watching, but I wanted to share my thoughts on this because if I don't say them, I think they're going to disappear into the ether, and I want them to be recorded. I want to have them at a later date because I think this book deserves all this focus and all this attention. It deserves to be in a spotlight because it is that good. And it really, really, really is that good. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought of this book. If you agree with what I just said, if you have something to add, if you disagree with what I just said, let me know, please. This is a discussion. I want you to discuss it with me. So yeah, I am going to see you guys soon. Have a nice week. Bye.